Tonight on CTV, the emerald ash borer. Is this invasive species here to stay, or are reports showing no new sightings?
Then, the latest on a stalker here on CSU campus, and as cool weather makes its way to Colorado, the bees make their way to safety.
That's here on CTV.
Good evening, I'm Natalie Devereaux.
And I'm Kenneth Frederick.
The public safety team of CSU sent out an email in regards to a potential stalking Wednesday evening. The email details events that occurred, including the male suspected of stalking showing up to take pictures of students when not involved with any campus activities. He then proceeded to focus on one girl. And now, CSU PD are asking students to keep an eye out for him if spotted. If you have any info on his location, you are asked to call 970-491-6425.
The emerald ash borer is an invasive species that attacks ash trees. It's a bug that's responsible for decimating Boulder's ash tree population in 2013. But how much do Fort Collins residents have to worry? The invasive species was spotted in northern Fort Collins last year in May, but since then there have been no new sightings. The borer is spread over large distances through the transportation of firewood. Forestry services heavily advise against moving firewood that hasn't been treated from one location to another one farther away. Dr. Whitney Cranshaw, an entomologist, and former CSU professor, says cities like Boulder and Fort Collins face this problem through a triage process.
Cities will manage this by a combination of selective tree treatments, trees that they want to protect, using insecticides that are highly effective for killing it, and then getting rid of the trees that they don't want to protect.
Dr. Cranshaw also said that people shouldn't panic, but to remain vigilant. While the ash borer could become a problem if not monitored against, it isn't something that residents should be spending money on until the species is detected in your neighborhood.
Emerald ash borer, if it's 10 miles away and you treat this year, you're getting zero benefit from it. And if it's not here the next year, you're getting zero benefit. You don't start to get benefit from an insecticide treatment unless it's in your neighborhood and in your tree, and it's been in your tree for a couple of years.
The city is in its first year of a 3-year program for pesticiding publicly owned ash trees. They're starting with the trees in northern Fort Collins and will phase in the remaining ash trees in 2022 and 2023.
The College of Engineering lost one of its most prestigious alumni, Walter Scott Jr., the man in which the college is named after. Walter graduated in 1953 and went on in his years after to donate more than $64 million to the College of Engineering, which in its time funded scholarships, faculty positions, and other aspects of the school. Thanks to his contributions, his donations helped shape the College of Engineering into what it is today.
An expansion to the mental health response team was talked about during City Council's second work session on the 2022 budget. Police Chief Jeffrey Swoboda is hoping to hire 5 new officers to join the response team. Mayor Pro Tempore Emily Francis took issue with the idea of hiring police officers when the same money could be used to pay for mental health experts. However, Swoboda explained that the officers would be strictly for mental health response team. Also, UC Health has verbally committed to expanding the program with more co-responders. Police Chief Swoboda says that UC Health also see the benefit to themselves and to the community.
That can cause confusion.
They love the program. As we continue to increase it, they're going to increase it because for every trip that doesn't go to their hospital and goes to someplace else, they also see great value in it.
Mayor Pro Tem Francis was partially won over by the explanation, but she says she won't fully support the new hires until a written agreement is made with UC Health about the expansion of the program.
Poudre School District is looking to add a health and wellness center built into one of its schools directly, Lincoln Middle School. The site will be available to over 30,000 students and will be operated by Every Child Pediatrics, a Denver-based health clinic. The need for the new clinic comes as the already established health center in a high school in Centennial has seen a growth of unique students, and the clinic wishes to expand its help to as much as possible.
Workers rejoice. Our current minimum wage is going from $12.32 an hour to $12.56 an hour. The increase comes from a ballot measure approved in 2006 that annually changes the minimum wage based on cost of living. Governor Jared Polis said, quote, "As we build back better, it's great to see Colorado workers get a decent raise on the minimum wage to $12.56 an hour, as our state builds an economy that works for everybody," unquote. The change to wages will take place starting in 2022.
Stick around, Rams.
Morgan Gardner has the latest on fall weather to come.
Awkward. Do I look familiar? I should. You might remember me from here. Here. Or maybe even here.
But an awkward silence can be a great thing.
It can actually be a perfect moment to reach out to a friend and ask if they're okay if they seem down.
It doesn't matter how you say it.
You all right?
Everything's okay?
Oh, gee.
You all right, girl? You cool?
You bugging dog.
Just show you're there for them.
Go on, Kelly. Seize the awkward.
Hey, you haven't really been yourself lately. Are you okay?
Find out how you can help a friend with their mental health at seizetheawkward.org.
Good evening, Rams. My name is Morgan Gardner, here to give you the rundown on all things weather. As we go into our current conditions, it is a nice fall evening right now. 59 degrees with lows expected to get into the lower 40s throughout the night. It's a little bit cloudy outside with a little bit of wind as well, coming in from the southeast, just 4 miles an hour though, nothing too crazy. And as we go into our current conditions, we should take a look at Silverthorne, which after a wildfire began on Tuesday, residents are a little scared.
Summit County Sheriff's Office ordered mandatory evacuations for the Hamilton Creek subdivision in Upper Angler Mountain after the fire quickly grew to over 85 acres. Those evacuated gathered at Silverthorne Town Hall this Wednesday in hopes they'd be able to have their question answered and return home. Prayers for rain and hope to gather precious items were heard during the meeting, along with fears from many residents. Calvin Stewart stated it's frightening. Of course your first thought is we're going to be just fine, but the reality is we may not, so it's a waiting game. According to Dillon District Ranger Adam Bianchi, a lot of fire activity has been seen throughout the past 3 nights.
With temperatures dropping, it was a little surprise to us to see a lot of the torching that we saw, and a lot especially in some of those aspen stands as well.
Helicopters are scooping up water from places like Silver Summit Ranch in hopes they can tame the burning timber.
Thankfully, the rainfall yesterday afternoon helped the fire calm down a tad, but the fire is estimated to continue for at least a few more weeks. As we look into Colorado's overnight lows, though, it is clear that fall has arrived. So although there is a fire going on in the west, across the region, fall is here with cooler temperatures. The ones that stand out this evening are the ones on I-25. So Denver out there at 48 degrees, as well as Pueblo, Lamar, and Grand Junction, with lower temperatures in the southwest. Telluride at 34, Gunnison at 32, and Alamosa at 35, making for a pretty cool evening. As we go into tomorrow's highs, however, it's going to be pretty consistent across the region as well, with a lot of the same temperatures in a lot of different counties as well. So Vail over there at 61, as well as the Springs, and the higher numbers up here at Sterling, 73 degrees, with the lowest temperature tomorrow is Telluride at 50 degrees. And as we go into tomorrow's Fort Collins forecast, it's going to be another great day with a high of 71 degrees and a low of 48. No rain is foreseen tomorrow. A little bit of intermittent clouds throughout the day, as well as some wind coming in from the southeast. The sunrise at 6:57 and sunset at 6:41. And as we look into the forecast for this week, a lot of the same temperatures again. So Friday, Saturday, and Monday at 71 degrees, while Sunday and Tuesday up there at 73.
Friday and Saturday going to see some intermittent clouds throughout the day, and Sunday through Tuesday is going to be beautiful and sunny. Well, Rams, that is all the time I have with you this evening, but stick around after the break for more news.
So there you are, shuffling through a stack of resumes, and you come to mine. This is it. First impression. My way in. But, here's the thing. Can my resume show you how I truly stand out? Can one piece of paper really tell you my whole story? Like, that I was studying, going to night school while working 2 jobs just to help my parents pay for groceries. Or how anytime there was an opportunity, I was the first one to step up. Because I wasn't gonna let my life, my circumstances dictate who I was gonna become. And all of that determination, commitment, drive, that's me. And that's something you just can't put on paper. Look beyond the resume and discover new ways to develop great talent, like me.
Welcome back, Rams.
Hope you enjoyed the break. CSU has become a top 10 school, but as Cam can tell you, it's certainly not in football. The university was just named the 10th most sustainable university in the country by the Sierra Club. They got their placement from projects like solar panels, the geothermal exchange system below the IM fields, and other sustainability endeavors. And things are only going to get greener as time goes on. There are plans for 21 other solar arrays going up in the next year.
Heard about the CSU Flower Trial Garden, but what about the small patches of flowers on campus? Some of the busy bees and their friends you can find there work overtime to help put food on our tables.
It's just a small flower garden on the corner of the Clark building, but many students, like Alyssa Parker, don't really know how important it is.
I walk by this almost every day because I have a class in here every single day of the week, so I've just noticed the pretty flowers, but I never knew what it was.
A pollinator garden is planted with shrubs and flowers that attract bees, butterflies, and other animals like bats. Some of the gardens even have what are called bee hotels that provide a quiet place for bees to lay their eggs. The idea is that the insects who call this garden home move pollen from one flower to another, helping plants that produce fertile seed.
Most people don't realize how important pollination gardens are to the food supply chain. But when you sit down to eat your dinner tonight, think. Experts say that 1 in every 3 bites comes from pollinators like these.
Finn Christensen is an entomology minor and says that she loves bugs and this little piece of campus.
I think it's really important because it's pretty, which brings attention of people, but it also can educate people as well, which is nice.
At the end of the day, many people won't think much about this small garden, but will benefit knowing a few insects are impacting the globe.
I think it's crazy how bees are I don't know, that they're smart and they can I don't know, help the world.
The bee hotels will be a little less active until the springtime, but they're still here on campus if you'd like to check them out.
The garden in front of Clark is one of 20 on campus. CSU is also the first Colorado university to be Bee Campus USA certified.
Nice. Milton Glasser was a renowned graphic designer and artist. Ever seen the phrase, "I Heart New York"? Well, that was one of his most famous designs from 1977. Now, a year after his death, he's being honored by poster makers from around the world. Tomorrow is the last day of Designers for Glasser International Invitation Exhibition. Artists from all over the globe have sent in posters to be displayed as an homage to the great master. The exhibition is held in the Hatton Gallery inside of the Visual Arts Building. There are quite a few posters in the gallery hall. And if you would like to see the exhibition tomorrow, it will once again be in the Hatton Gallery, and there is no cost to enter.
While Fort Collins is great for the outdoors, seeing an emu is something you probably wouldn't expect. On Saturday, Fort Collins residents saw an emu wandering around the Poudre River. Animal control was called, but were unable to find the bird until 6 p.m. when they received a call saying the emu had been involved in a collision with a truck. The bird was rushed to the CSU Veterinary Hospital where it was treated and returned to its owners on Sunday.
Are you getting tired of the same old Taco Bell or spoons every time you go to eat at the LSC? Well, if you have time for something a little more than fast food, you may want to check out the Aspen Grill. Last year, they weren't able to have customers due to the pandemic, but now they're back and raring to go. Students take a class and run the restaurant for a semester, learning everything from hospitality to cooking. Customers are served a 3-course meal to go with their dining experience. This month, the grill is serving up a Latinx-inspired menu. You can reserve a table at the restaurant on the LSC website. The grill is open from 11 in the morning until 1 in the afternoon during Tuesdays through Thursdays.
Well, Rams, that's all the news we have for you tonight.
But stick around for the latest in sports from Cameron Evig.
And later, the best in entertainment from Tom Isaacson here on CTV.
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Do clouds take naps?
I couldn't tell you.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look!
What's up, Rams, and welcome back to yet another week of Cam's Corner. Here to give you a rundown on everything going on with Colorado State Athletics. My name's Cameron Evig. The NFL is 1/4 of the way through its season, and I'll give you my main takeaways from these first 4 weeks. Plus, I was finally wrong. See which Ram squad proved their worth and shut me up after their matchup last weekend. All that and more on Cam's Corner, starting right now. Kicking things off with some pro action, now that the NFL is nearly a quarter of the way done with its regular season, I thought it was a good as time as ever to go over my main takeaways throughout these first 4 weeks. Here's the top 3 things I'm keeping an eye on during this early season push. To start, the Los Angeles Rams are looking like the best team in football, and it really isn't close. Look, you gotta beat the best to be the best, and that's exactly what Matthew Stafford and the Rams did when they took down the Buccaneers last Sunday. Beating Tom Brady and company is always a tough task, and doing so proves what many thought when they added Stafford in the offseason, that LA is a championship-level squad, with number 9 under center, not Jared Goff. Yeah, what can you say about this Rams squad? Jalen Ramsey and Aaron Donald, two of the best at their position. Cam Akers' injury, you thought that was going to hold him back just a little bit, but it's not gonna. Cooper Kupp is going crazy right now. Wide receiver 1 on this Rams squad. Robert Woods not showing up as much, but this team looks phenomenal. Would not be surprised to see him in the Super Bowl. Next up, it's pretty clear that the Titans have literally been given a free playoff spot. Now, coming into the season, we expected the Titans to win their division and to be a strong team. But right now, it looks like they'll easily take the AFC South. They don't scare me at all, though. Tennessee is 2-1 on the season with a blowout loss to the Cardinals, an overtime game with the Seahawks that they should have lost, and a 9-point win against an underwhelming and injured Colts team. And although the addition of Julio Jones isn't exactly living up to the hype in Nashville, the other 3 squads in the division are the 0-3 Jaguars, the 1-2 Texans, and of course the Colts, who had their best player guard Quentin Nelson carted off the field last week. I feel like an 8-9 record could easily take this division. And last but not least, I want to talk about how wild the wildcard race will be for the NFC and the AFC. The Raiders, Broncos, Panthers are all undefeated, and if you guessed that, then you're insane. But this wildcard race is going to be crazy, and it's going to come down to 8 teams. In the AFC, the Broncos, Chiefs, Raiders, and Ravens will all be fighting for those 3 spots. Obviously, one of these teams has to win the AFC West, but the other 2 are going to have to fight with Lamar Jackson for playoff spots. On the other hand, the NFC is also going to come down to 3 teams from the same division, with the 49ers, the Cardinals, and the Seahawks, as well as the Saints and the Panthers, all aiming for postseason appearances. Unfortunately for Carolina fans, their Cinderella story is going to end short, especially now that Christian McCaffrey is going to be out for a couple of weeks, and expect the Saints to get on track soon with a healthy Alvin Kamara and their solid defense. And speaking of defense, the Seahawks D has struggled like it usually does, but Danger Russ will find a way to get his team to the playoffs. He always does. This battle in the NFC will come down to the very last week to see who gets those final playoff spots. Mark my words. And now, it's that time you've all been waiting for, the Ram play of the week. And for the first time, probably ever, I have to admit that I was wrong. Because this week's Ram of the Week is the entire CSU football team. Now, you might be wondering why that's the case when they took a 10-point out to Iowa. But being a 1-2 team in the Mountain West and only losing by 10 to a top 5 team in the nation is a massive win for the Rams. Like most people, I assumed that this was going to be a blowout in favor of the Hawkeyes, but the Rams fought, and they fought hard, even going up 14-7 at one point. Coach Adazio's squad hit a real shot to win this one, and if it wasn't for that fumbled handoff to start the second half, this road trip could have finished much differently. All in all, the Rams exceeded expectations and made all of the Ramley very proud last Saturday. And from that very same game comes the play of the week. Now, before we get into the play of the week, let's watch this first clip, because not all plays start off with sunshines and rainbows. Sometimes you're going to take a punch and you got to stand right back up, and that's exactly what Robert Floyd does on this play. Floyd gets absolutely toasted by Keegan Johnson here. A huge pickup for the Hawkeyes, but on the very next possession, as you will see, Robert Floyd comes back and says, give me this ball, picks off the screen pass and is going to take it a very long distance to set the Rams in almost the red zone at about the 23-yard line, which eventually leads to a Rams touchdown. Good play there by Robert Floyd. He gets our play of the week. And well, Ram fans, that's all the sports I have for you tonight. Be sure to catch up on the Monday show for more sporting news. But don't go anywhere just yet. Tom Isaacson will end tonight's show by giving you all the spice and entertainment.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Hi. Hoping for a crisp breeze to help keep you alert. Oh, he took a sip of water too. That'll probably help.
You were probably going to turn down the radio too, so you could focus, right?
Probably okay isn't okay.
Right.
If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend.
I think the water line is what really drove it home. I blew on him.
Good evening, Rams and Ram fans. My name is Tom Isaacson, and welcome to your Thursday night entertainment wrap-up. As always, I've got a lot of great stuff planned for you tonight, so let's not waste another second. And tonight we start with some great news about Fort Collins venues. As COVID struggles have really knocked them down, there is a real lifeline of hope. As COVID ripped through the live music scene, hope is returning, not only with the return of big music events, but with the Shuttered Venue Operators Grant Program, giving 14 Fort Collins venues a bunch of grants that totaled $7 million to keep going. This gives me hope that music is here to stay in Fort Collins. Now, it is October, which means homecoming week is upon us, so I'm here to give you the rundown of all the great events. Starting out on the 6th with the homecoming kickoff party from 6 to 8, then moving on to some alumni awards on the 7th, then the big Get Your Green on the Plaza show on Friday, finishing hopefully strong with the football game against San Jose State on Saturday. This looks to be a big event, and I can't wait to get involved since I didn't get to last year. So on the show, I have been avid on talking about Fort Collins history, and I sincerely doubt that there is a place in Fort Collins that has this much impact on modern history than this place.
For 17 years now, something has been missing from Fort Collins. Something different, unique, and cultural. And after all that time, someone has returned. All the way from Naples, Italy. This is Antonio Race, and this is Ciao Vino.
What's different right now that my main focus it is a Ciao Vino. I came into this country, I came back to the United States of America to open a Ciao Vino and to dedicate my life and myself to Ciao Vino. and to be part of this community in a way that has never been done before.
Using food and wine as a vehicle to bring people together, Antonio wants to bring all people of Fort Collins in to create a community he describes as family.
My goal is not to open another restaurant, to open a place that is part of the community, and my intention is to touch people's hearts, to make people fall in love with what's important in life, to create this social movement in Fort Collins.
To Antonio, it's less about bringing Italy to Fort Collins. It's about bringing Fort Collins to the rest of the world by creating a place of cultural significance, with Front Range culture combining with the people of the world.
You know, the community in Fort Collins is a welcome something like that, because that's how we want to do in Fort Collins. It is to make Fort Collins, help Fort Collins to become a better place by bringing culture to Fort Collins.
I gotta admit, talking to Antonio about his life and his goals for Ciaovino was such a joy. I really wish I could just air the full near 30-minute interview I had with him because he had so much to say. Thank you, Antonio, for sharing with me. I don't know about you, but fall is definitely my favorite season of the year. And I think I know one of the reasons why besides the temperature. The leaves and their colors. Since the season of fall is a bit late, and not to mention the Cameron Peak Fire burned nearly 209,000 acres of land, there is still a lot of time to take a drive through the canyon to see the beautiful aspen trees in the best color combination, green and gold. With midterms already here, this sounds like a great stress relief activity to me. Alright Rams, you know what time it is. It's time to show you what I found on the internet with the clip of the week. Here's a question. Do you believe in karma? I know to an extent that I do, which is why when I saw this clip, I knew I had to share it. Take a look at this. Yes, I love instant karma. How many times has something like that happened to you and you just thought, man, I wish there was an officer nearby to pull this maniac over? That was completely satisfactory. And with all of that, Rams, we are out of time. Thank you all very much for tuning in tonight. We hope you have a great weekend. And, happy birthday to my mom and brother. Hope you're both having a great night tonight. Good night, Rams.